Hello and welcome back to Burgers and Fries. I'm Desert Cow at 22, and with me as always we have TT Burger 88.
What's up, people? And what's shaking?
Definitely not me. And we also have our friend Gregory, aka
Timberwolf.
Timberwolf. Welcome back to our podcast. Glad to have you with us. Now, this is one that basically, TT, you insisted you wanted to do a podcast on this one, and then you decided to be sick for a while. A week has gone by, actually more than a week, 14 days, 2 weeks have gone by, and literally yesterday was another mass shooting at Greenwood Park Mall, Indiana, which is your home state, Tony.
But I didn't really know about this mall shooting until you mentioned it. But I did know about the Highland Park one because that one took place on 4th of July, and it was like, at this point, I was just like to myself, Jesus Christ, another shooting. Like, when is this stuff gonna end? Because like it's not safe for people to go to these parades anymore and stuff like that. I mean, what's gonna happen next? Like, people aren't gonna be able to be safe going to weddings or funerals, or high schoolers not gonna be safe going to prom or homecoming or winter formal or any events or sport games or so. I mean, that's the only way it's gonna get worse. Because I feel like that this is gonna get worse and worse when it comes to these shootings. Like, it just seems like they're non-stop, boom, 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 non-stop. Like, they're not ending. It was just they're surprising because, like, you think, it's America's birthday, Independence Day, so, and yet this is going on. It's like, I just have to wonder what's gonna happen next year for 4th of July or for Christmas or something like that. Because, like, you just don't know what's gonna happen. These shootings are gonna happen anywhere, and it's only a matter of time before even where I live in Indiana and stuff like that, it's gonna get worse and worse and worse.
Well, you already had something happen in Indiana. Now,
No,
granted, you're north. Granted, you're basically Chicago East, and this is in central. This other shooting that happened was in central Indiana. But basically, there's different outcomes with both of these shootings. All right. So before we move on, all right, Greg, your initial thoughts on the 4th of July Highland Park shooting?
Well, I was actually surprised about that. Well,
Yeah, it's definitely surprising. Anything else?
yeah, that's just pretty much it.
Okay. So, Highland Park Parade, my understanding is that this guy used a rifle and he fired it from the rooftop. He gained access to it by just taking an unsecured ladder and fired 83 shots just on this parade. And again, obviously this guy is just twisted in the head. Just something in his mind thought, I'm just going to shoot up the parade. But you're right, Tony. These shootings happen everywhere. They've already happened at elementary schools, as we talked about. They've happened at churches. They've happened at prom after parties. All right? There's another shooting that actually happened. Did you know about a shooting that happened in Sacramento? And this one happened in April, but this one was gang violence. So why do you suppose something like this made the news? Same amount of people died in this one. 7 people in this one, 6 people in Sacramento. So why do you suppose the Highland Park shooting made the news this time?
because it was on 4th of July. It was during a parade, and it wasn't gang violence or anything.
So we should just ignore gang violence?
No, that's not what I mean.
No. You see what I'm saying, though?
Yeah.
This gets attention because of this guy being a right-wing nut job, or so to speak, or so they say, but not about the gang violence that killed innocent people in Sacramento, or all the gang violence that actually happens on a regular basis in fucking Chicago. So what do you know about this shooter, Tony? I mean, you're the one who wanted to talk about this. So what do you know about this shooter?
Well, he was a nutcase, and there were family members of his who were also crazy too. Like, his mom had been arrested before, and I don't know exactly everything because, like, I was working a lot that week, so I couldn't really find out everything. I just heard from, like, coworkers and stuff like that, and just on my break I would see, oh, they caught the guy and stuff. But we were worried because we didn't hear anything about them catching this guy until, like, in the evening or so. We thought that it was gonna get worse. I thought he was gonna come to near where I work or near where I live, or to just go all over the place and stuff like that. It's like, it's just what worries me about these shootings is that, like, these, like, kids. How are you supposed to protect kids these days from this stuff? Kids don't know how to fire a gun. Kids don't know how to defend themselves.
Yes, you can teach them.
Well, still, I mean,
You
like,
ever been with a Montana family, Tony? The
No,
kids know how to fire guns in Montana.
a 5-year-old in kindergarten.
Sure. I don't know about kindergarten, but I've been with Montana families that go shooting, and the kids definitely know how to use them. They've been instructed gun safety from a get-go, and they're taught very early on, like, this is how you have to handle this. So yes, you can teach kids gun safety because I've seen it happen. Greg, your thoughts?
I got nothing.
You're just listening. That's all right. Yes, people are going to say, this guy was a right-wing Trumper, and other people are going to say, no, he was actually a leftist. He was an Antifa guy, whatever. I really don't know what's the case. I mean, Wikipedia is going to say that he attended Trump rallies, but that could mean anybody. You can be a Bernie supporter and infiltrate a Trump rally. You can be Steven Crowder and go to a Bernie rally as a joke. Just because you go to a rally doesn't necessarily mean you're part of it. But regardless of what political stance this guy is in, obviously he is a monster in his own right, and what he did is undefendable.
I just have to wonder what's going to happen next. Is something going to happen on Halloween, Thanksgiving? I mean, that's what really scares me. There could be a shooting like that during the Macy's Thanksgiving parade in New York or Chicago or any of that stuff.
The Boston Marathon had a bombing, so if it can happen, it might happen. Does that mean we have to cancel everything?
Nope.
But it's only a matter of time when these shootings are going to get so bad that we're going to be banned from going out late at night, out in the evening, or out at all.
Well, you could arm people. Where are these shootings usually taking place, Tony?
Usually cities and such.
No, we talked about this before, Tony. Where are these mass shootings usually taking place?
In places where nobody's armed with guns and everything.
Bingo. How many people do you think were armed at this parade?
0.
I can't tell you how many people were armed at this parade. I do believe if you arm more people, it's going to make somebody think twice about going in and shooting people. Now, the other thing about this guy is that this guy actually had run-ins with the law prior.
Yeah, I remember. I heard that, yeah.
I mean, his parents were nutcases, and then he himself was obviously a nutcase. In September of 2019, the police seized 16 knives, a dagger, and a sword after a family member reported to the police that he planned to, quote, kill everyone. And then that year, the shooter applied for a firearm owner identification card. This is 2019. So this is basically 3 years ago. He would have been maybe 19 years old at the time. His dad sponsored this kid to have a firearm owner identification card. This kid has already had a run-in with the law. Why would you sponsor this kid to have a fucking firearm license? I agree with anybody that said this kid should not have legally been able to obtain a firearm. We can agree there. Anybody who talks about red flag laws. But with that said, no matter how many measures are going to get taken place, do you think this would have stopped this kid from getting a gun?
No.
If he got a bunch of knives that nobody knew about, do you think this would have stopped this kid from getting a gun?
No.
Nope.
Have it so that there's more armed people, and then people will think twice about these shots. Case in point, the Greenwood Park Mall. So this happened yesterday. All right. Gunman, basically, they decided to walk from his apartment, came in with semi-automatic rifle. He had a Glock. He had ammunition. And this guy fired into a food court. All right, where he probably thought, oh, they're defenseless. There's not going to be anybody there. Nobody's going to be armed. Guess who killed this guy?
Someone who was armed.
Yes, an armed civilian prevented more deaths. This guy unfortunately killed 4. Well, actually, he killed 3, and then he got shot himself. But yes, how many more people do you think could have died if there was not an armed civilian?
Lot more.
Yes. We can talk about the Uvalde shooting in Texas. The police let that asshole stay in there for an hour, shooting kids in a classroom before somebody who was not affiliated with the police came in and shot the guy down. So now you've just been proven, okay, you can't always trust the police to protect and serve in the event of an active shooter. You can't always be certain that this so-called gun-free zone is going to be free of guns at all times of the day. Once again, good guy with the gun stops a bad guy with a gun. This type of event that happened yesterday should be pushed a lot more than people debating gun control over the nut job that happened in Highland Park. That's what I got to say about it. Tony, Greg, your thoughts?
Greg, you go first.
Well, it's kind of like what Tony says. You can't predict anything. I mean, you can never predict anyone that's going to be shooting in a time. Well, I think what I'm trying to say is I'm not in favor for gun control laws because the other countries that did that before didn't really end up well.
So, like, which countries are the strictest? Like, even like Japan is one of the strictest places, and yet still a former prime minister got gunned down.
Mm-hmm.
So no amount of measure being taken place is going to stop criminals from getting guns.
Yep.
So it sounds to me like this guy who shot up a 4th of July parade, no matter what was going to happen, he was determined, and it was going to happen because he didn't get the help he needed. Nobody gave him the help he needed. In fact, his idiot parents enabled him.
That's
so
the thing. Like, sometimes even the parents don't know that the shooter is going to do his stuff. I can't believe I'm using this example. Look at Elliot Rodger. His family didn't know that he was going to shoot up all those people and stuff like that. So, only person who knew was him. It's the same with this thing too. Sometimes even the parents don't know that.
Yes, but in this case, these parents did have an idea that this guy was not right,
and they allowed.
And he still vouched to let this kid get a firearm, even after he had already threatened to kill people, even after he had already got police confiscating his knives. No, he's allowed to have a firearm.
It's just crazy.
It is. It's all right. Greg, any closing remarks on this one?
Nope.
That's all right. Short and sweet. So that's all for this edition of Burgers and Fries. Once again, if you want to be part of our podcast in any future episode, just please join our Discord server and start sending us private messages, and maybe you might join us one day.
Exactly.
I'm Desert Pilot 22. Thanks for listening.
And this is Tony Katitibury 8 peace out also.
And this is Gregory Timberwolf saying out.
Sign off, peeps. Have a great night.